We are legends.
Hello and welcome to We Are Legends, the unofficial podcast for DC Legends Mobile. I am Slowbeast, and with me as always is Hate Mail. Today's episode we have new content announcement. We have a interview with Superhero Review, and we're going to discuss the reworks to Batgirl, Black Canary, as well as Superman.
Breaking news.
And joining us now to break some epic news is Ogre Barbarian.
Hooray!
Yay!
So we actually have some great news for you guys. Ogre, myself, and Doombox, who unfortunately wasn't able to make tonight's recording.
Boo!
We were invited to a special test program to test out some new content that they'll be releasing very soon, which is a new PvP mode, a couple different PvP modes that are pretty awesome. And if you're watching the YouTube video version, if you're not, I suggest checking it out, because you'll see some pretty neat fights in this scenario. And Ogre, if you want to explain what the different modes are a little bit.
All right, so normal PvP is still there, right? So it's the weekly tournament is what it's called now, I think. The other two modes are Blitz and Weekend Siege. And they're, from what I can tell, basically the same thing. It's just one's a single day for Blitz, and it happens during the week. And then Weekend Siege happens over the weekend, and it lasts, I think, 2 or 3 days. So, and it's kind of nice. The reward payouts and the board clears are really interesting and really, really good for any player of any kind. So the rewards are gems. Lots and lots of gems. It's going to be really epic. It's going to be really awesome. One really cool feature about this is that you actually have to use the same PvP energy that you would normally use for your weekly tournament. If you choose to compete in these, you're using the same pool of energy. So
this will be opt-in, and you're going to have to use the PvP. You're going to have to decide whether or not to do the PvP tournament for the week or to do these little mini tournaments.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and they haven't told us the day events so far. That's what it seems like, but keep in mind a lot of this, we're in the testing mode, but they allowed us to talk about it. So some of this stuff may change. They did tell us that the rewards will stay gems. Right now, the gem rewards, what they look like they're going to be, look really good. So I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed in the rewards. And then the board clears are really neat, but they asked us not to talk about that because it's still possibly changing, but I think you'll be really happy with what the board clears are. And then the Weekend Siege events looks like they may change up what the rewards are going to be, and there may be other special events that they said that they might roll out, so we don't know exactly what that could be. But either way, it's really neat. And one of the other really cool features about it is that when you go in, there's going to be different character sets where using certain characters do different things. Like one of them was certain select characters had 250% extra health. What was some of the other ones, Ogre?
I honestly didn't look at them, sadly.
Okay. Well, there was some for certain characters.
I didn't even notice that was a thing.
Really? You didn't notice that?
I did not notice that.
If you're watching the video, you'll see that like Red Robin and I can't remember who else was it, but Red Robin had 5 times the normal life. Constantine had 5 times the normal life. Other things they look like they're going to start doing is they're going to have characters. One of the things mentioned to us was that they might have a character that does 5 times overhealing. So really neat. It looks like it's going to change continually. We don't know what they're going to do with that, but I think that's just different things they're going to play with. And then they're going to have.
We're just seeing the tip of the iceberg here.
Really cool stuff. I think just the different variables using different characters will, for those of you that have worked on a big roster, I think you'll see a lot more use for that. And then if you have some of those select characters, that'll give you a little bit of an advantage. And it looks like these events are going to be happening every week, changing in and out. We don't know exactly what the time frames are, how long they're all going to last, but it looks like they're going to be frequent and quick. So it'd be a neat little diversion to give you something to do. And PvP energy really isn't that terribly expensive, so it's something fun and different that you can do for relatively cheap. And if the rewards stay what they are, they're well worth competing in.
Absolutely.
Well, that's pretty awesome, and it seems like they have a lot of possibilities for different things they could do with those little mini tournaments, as far as rewards and different, like you said, modifiers to different characters, and bringing in some characters that probably aren't getting as used as much. That seems really interesting to me. I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. It's definitely something that's really needed. And the nice thing is if it's changing out all the time, and you just don't really, you have a busy week. It's not something you feel like you have to do, but it's something you'll want to do. So I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something else.
I think it's one of those things that if you're tired of the boring weekly grind, this is definitely a good way to break it up for you and give you something else to do.
One of the other fun things, and I don't think this is going to be going into the live version, but because they're small pool of characters that we're just testing it with, you'll see some of these fights that have multiple chemos that we're facing. I'm pretty sure they did that for Mr. Ogre.
I believe that's called. I believe that's called the Ogre
it was
team.
Highly entertaining. Yeah, the Ogre team. And while we're on that subject, I have to get your thoughts on what you thought of the April Fool's Day pack that came out.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I loved it.
The
Ogre, amazing.
The Ogre sale. We actually, Hate and I were texting, and I was like, "Oh, it's an Ogre sale."
That sale was amazing. If you didn't buy it, I feel sorry for you.
It was pretty
very
cool.
Good sale anyway. I mean, you definitely came out way ahead buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like one essence. You get like 300 gems, 2 PvP energy, 25 PvE energy, 10 speed force, and like 50 frags of camo for free.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, for one essence. I mean, come on. How do you pass that up?
It was worth it.
So we think this, from what we understand, I think this is coming out this month. I don't know exactly when. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's pretty soon, probably in a couple weeks. And I'm sure they'll release more information about it once they hammer out all the fine details. But either way, really cool, really fun. And like I said, you'll see some of the videos and us entering some of the matches on the YouTube version. So I think everybody, finally, we've been wanting new content for a long time, so it's finally here.
So let me ask you, Ogre, have you been able to work with the new rework characters? You used them at all?
No.
Not even Superman?
No. He's Gear 4 for me.
Okay. All right, I understand.
Like when he comes around for his PvE day, I'll plug him in and use him, but I don't have a whole lot of work done on any of these characters, unfortunately. I think my Canary is actually R4.
I actually just tested a match we'd recorded earlier on the rework characters, and I actually recorded a match because I noticed I didn't have a lot of Superman video. So I recorded a match with Superman lead. I think I used Power Girl, Constantine, and Black Canary. Man, that team did well. I actually took on one of the invisible teams, and I didn't lose a single person.
Jeez.
Black Canary is so good. Her Canary cry with that hit chance down is amazing.
So now that is something that I'm looking forward to, is that I'm really looking forward to the hit chance down team finally coming to fruition.
Yeah, I could see that being a very difficult team to deal with. So it's actually a good thing, Superman's eye beam, or heat vision rather, got the can't miss. Who was the other character we were talking about? Hate?
Batgirl.
Batgirl, yep, she's going to be important. And then
her counter can't miss.
And then Steppenwolf. So we're going to have the counters to the evasion team geared up, ready to go.
Batgirl or Black Canary paired with Batman Beyond is going to be quite good. And the bad thing is that if you want to counter, you could just take those two and then run some of the other teams that you need counters for, and then you're going to have to pick and choose what counter you're going to have to leave off. So I think you're going to see a lot of new interesting. I mean, PvP is in such a great place right now with all the different crazy teams that you can put together successfully, and a lot of them. I've run a lot of different teams, and I've noticed a lot of them do well in defense too. So, I think PvP is in a great place because I notice I lose more matches than I used to, and I don't mind losing to these teams because they're not just a team with a dumb mechanic. It's interesting different teams that I'm like, wow, that was a good team. That was tough. I want to play that again.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely been a kind of a paradise for me.
Yeah, I imagine so. All right. Well, did you guys have anything else that you can reveal for us? The secrets of the universe.
42.
42. Hate,
Yep.
hate you to get that reference?
Yes, I actually do.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Usually he's bad with it. His sci-fi is usually pretty bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he's.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I didn't go over your head on that one.
No, his comic knowledge is strong, but his sci-fi is usually pretty weak. So.
And the main reason I know that is because of Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine.
That's fair.
I'll
That's
take
fair.
that.
The point is, you know it.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys. Well, that was some exciting news, and if nothing else, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And now it's time for in-depth character review with hate mail. Looks like we're looking at Batgirl, Black Canary, and Superman this week. What do you got about Batgirl?
Batgirl is, I have to say, she's probably my favorite of the reworks. Black Canary is a close second. I actually liked Black Canary a little bit more when I first started playing her, but Batgirl's really won me over. For her legendary order, I would probably go 2, 3, 1, 5, 4, but I have to say this has been a tough one for me to pick because she's definitely a legendary 5 candidate. Every one of hers is really good.
Let me ask you real quick. I have a glitch in my Batgirl abilities list, and it shows an extra leadership ability that has just 0.
Yeah, and when you get all of your legendaries, that unlocks a new super legendary ability.
Really?
That's our poor attempt at an April Fool's joke. That's just a tooltip error. It doesn't do anything. But
Yeah, I didn't think it did, but we should have kept that in there. That's awesome.
yeah.
People have been like, "Oh my gosh, I got to get her 5-star."
Her first ability, that target analyze, the reason I didn't like her as much is I wasn't using it enough at the beginning, and that's really what you should always open with. For against Power Girl, it removes her buffs. Against Harley Quinn, it removes all of her buffs. And also keep in mind that I don't know if it's supposed to, but it doesn't ever miss. So it says always purge, so I'm assuming that's kind of the similar to can't miss.
Can't miss. Makes sense.
But removes 5 buffs, and when you do the legendary upgrade, it remove 10. So it pretty much dumps all buffs off any character. It also will purge 5 awareness, so if you're fighting a Deathstroke comp or a team Martian Manhunter team, removes those. And then, but she has to have an evasion up. So if she's not leader, you don't always want to open with that. You want to open with her 3 typically. And that would be the next one I'd upgrade. Her 3, it just applies 5 hit chance downs, which is quite useful. So if you're not using her as lead, then it also increases that evasion. And usually it's a very powerful ability. You'll nuke most blues, mystic characters. So that's usually why I would go with that one next. Her 1, which I used to recommend number 1, but with the changes, I think those 2 abilities are a little bit better, is Call Assist if target has no buffs. I'm almost tempted to tell you to go with her 4 before that, or her 5, because so many characters have buffs. But that Call Assist is so great when they don't. So that's where I'm kind of torn on it. So if you're playing with her, I used to think that the value for her Missed Us wasn't as good, because the count, what that ability does is counterattack can't miss and gain 1 crit chance up. At first I was like, it's probably not that good, but you're fighting so many evading characters anymore, especially if MJ's on so many teams still, that whenever she counterattacks, it will sometimes miss, and having that always, if it hits the enemy and purges 3 buffs, is really useful. And that ability procs pretty often, because when you're using her as lead, everybody on the team has 3 evasion ups. So that's why I would recommend taking that either 3rd or 4th if you're going to use her as leader regularly. And also when an ally evades, they gain in heal and crit immunity. So it's really powerful ability. Overall, I find her to be extremely good. Facing against her, she's a pain. And you'll see tons of video of me using her. She works well in most teams, with or without other evaders. She pairs really well with MJ Harley Quinn, but she's really not necessary. As you'll see, most of the teams I run with her do not have other evading characters. I do like pairing her with Black Canary, as Black Canary on the team. Moving into Black Canary, her legendary upgrade I kind of do similar. I would do 3, 2, 1, 5, 4 for her as well. Her 4 is definitely last. You don't really need the cooldown for her Wildcat Haymaker. It doesn't really do as much for her. Her legendary upgrades, I don't find them to be that particularly needed, so she's a character that could probably work pretty well without many legendary upgrades, and you could move these orders around. What I found the most useful is I almost always open with her Canary Cry, especially if you're using her as leader, because you don't want to gain evasion up, because then she won't grant the evasion to your entire team. She's got a pretty long, wordy leader, but basically what it means is if nobody has evasions up, everyone on the team will gain them. And if everyone has evasions up, they'll grant 1 awareness to an ally when they gain evasion up on their turn. So if they do not already have an awareness. So you'll notice certain characters will gain awareness, or she'll gain awareness whenever she uses her ability. So it's a pretty good leadership. I don't find it to be spectacular, but if everyone has an evasion, she'll use her Wild Haymaker. So her Wildcat Haymaker is pretty good. Applies 4 strength down, and then a plus 10% chance to stun per strength up on a target. So she's really good against Power Girl. She's really good against Bane. A lot of the characters that gain those massive strength ups, I use her against Power Girl a lot to kind of take her out of the battle, because she'll make it so she hits like a kitten and often will stun her. And then she'll also, with the legendary upgrade, she'll silence the enemy. And then she'll do plus 7% damage per strength up on the target. So she's really good against Cheetah. Has a lot of uses. Her basic ability is pretty good. Every time you use it, she gains 3 evasion ups, which is really nice. And then if the target is not evading, she'll do negative 40% turn meter. So I find that to be pretty good ability as well. Overall, I find her to be a pretty good utility character, and she does decent damage. So she also has a basic that gives her turn meter if an ally takes damage, and if she evades, she has 75% chance for her ally to counterattack. So you'll notice whenever she gets attacked, she evades, and then other allies will do a counterattack. So overall, very good character. I feel like they really nailed the rework. She's not an overpowered character, but fits well on teams. I used her on a ton of teams. You'll see in these videos where it takes a little bit for her to get going, but once she gets going, she's one of those characters. She has tons of evasion up. She'll stun. She does turn meter down. So just really good, decent damage utility character.
I know we talked about Superman, the buff that he got real quick with Superhero Review, but if you want to talk about that again real quick.
Yeah, and later in the interview, we'll talk about the Superman. I do find him to be a pretty good character. The problem I have with him is while his leadership is a lot better than it was, I don't find it to be great. There's just better leaders to take over. I have used him as leader and found him to be a very usable character. He's definitely better than he was because he doesn't have that gate. But you're still relying on somebody to get critical hit and sometimes die for him to use his taunt with damage immunity. And then, basically the person can just wait it out after that. Where I do find him a lot better, though, is having that heat vision that can't miss is extremely useful. And then the biggest buff, I think, to him is his overheal. So when I put him on a team, I'm not using him as leader as much. But having him just as a teammate and then sitting there getting overheals throughout the match is fantastic.
Sure. So he seems to work better as a character, but you're not using the leadership. You're using him as a...
Yeah, I'm using him more as a support character for his heal immunity and buff immunity. And then I do want to take...
Heal immunity is big.
I think his 25% chance to stun, I probably would move up now. Before I would have taken it last, but now I would probably leave his leader and his 25% turn meter for later.
What's your recommended legendary order?
I would probably go for him 2, 4, 1, 5, 3. And then we'll also link Superhero Review's video review on him. Yeah, since he uses Superman more than most other people. He kind of goes into that as well. You'll see that in the show notes.
Hey, Hate Mail, you got any change?
What do you need change for?
I want to go to the store and buy a candy bar.
So fat. Hey man, why don't you take that money and use it on something with a lot more value?
Like what could I get for $1?
You could become a patron of We RRR Legends and get a free bonus episode every month.
Really? That sounds so valuable.
You will even get extended interviews and blooper reels. Maybe from this skit even.
That sounds swell. I'm going to sign up today. But seriously, do you have a candy bar laying around? And now we have the interview with Superman 2598 from the Superhero Review YouTube channel. Our first question we wanted to know was, you go by Superman 2598 in the game, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And we want to get to know you a little better, and how we do that is ask you a few questions. First of all, how long have you been playing DC Legends?
I actually started in, let's see, it was Thanksgiving of 2016, kind of right after it kicked off. I remember, I believe it was Supergirl was the the free character that you could collect shards for at the time. But being brand new, I really didn't get very much of her, and it wasn't until later that she kind of became one of the meta characters for a little while. Yeah.
Remember that. And why did you pick Superman? Does the 2598 have any significance?
Well, Superman has always been my favorite character in any kind of fictional world, not just in comic books. And so Superman has always kind of appealed to me, and I guess that's why I kind of gravitate towards Captain America as well. I'm much more into the traditional heroes and not the quote unquote badass or the that kind of thing. I've always liked the more morality kind of heroes, and that's where I gravitated to Superman. As for 25 and 98, 25 was always the number that I used in all the sports that I played, and 98 just happened to be the year I graduated high school.
Oh, okay. Oh,
so what you're telling us is we know your debit card PIN now.
There you go. There you go. Actually, I do. I won't. What I do now is I actually use my wedding anniversary, so I won't reveal that to everybody.
Your friends on Facebook, hopefully they're not listening.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Go change all your PIN numbers.
Right, exactly.
All right, so you got a little bonus rework of Superman this month, and he got a little buff. What are you thinking about that? You think he's was it deserved, or did they not do enough for him?
Well, it's kind of a mixed bag. He is certainly better than what he was. And as you know, I love Superman and love the character, and I really wanted to see him get boosted up. And so when I very first started this, there was some YouTubers out there that kind of did a list of all the best heroes in the game, and at that time they had Superman listed as number 1, and so I couldn't wait to finally get him. And they've just dropped a sale for him, 2 or 3 or about 2 years back now, and whenever they did, I was able to kind of jump on those shards and unlock Superman, and I even have that video still posted on the channel. And so we got so excited that we got to unlock him, and when we finally did, we realized we were kind of underwhelmed by him. And then he turned out to be the very first updated hero, and so I was excited about that, and I did a brand new video excited about that. And he got better, but still wasn't great, and so they decided to give him another boost. And to be blunt about it, this time he's still better. He's still a little more tanky than what he was before, and I do like the fact that a lot of his things don't require him to have buffs on him anymore, or require debuff to be used, I should say. And so I like that. But when I see people like Etrigan and Power Girl, I'm thinking, gosh, I really was hoping that he was kind of going to land in that kind of world, where he just can take over be the real hero on your team and take over the event. And, I can kind of leave him towards the end and take him out as the very last character. But there's people like Etrigan and Power Girl, for instance, that you got to take out at the beginning, or they're just going to destroy your team.
Absolutely.
And I guess that's just my kind of outlook on it. I mean, we've got 3 Wonder Woman, we've got 3 Batman, and only 1 of the guy that's been there for 80 years now. And so
that's a good point.
Gosh, we even got 2 Lex Luthors for that matter. Yeah. And so, I sure would love to see the Man of Steel get.
I'm sorry about that. We lost you actually right after you were saying you'd love to see Superman get.
You were saying you'd love to see additional Superman, and then we lost you right after that.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that with there being some characters that have 3 different versions in the game. There's some that have 2 different versions in the game. I mean, gosh, we got 2 Lex Luthors for that matter. It would be nice to see another version of Superman, like a Henry Cavill or even a black suit Superman for that matter. I think that would be really cool to see in the near future.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do a Superman month soon, and then maybe rework Supergirl a little bit, and yes, in both or one of the Lex Luthors, and then that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I gotta agree with you. I was underwhelmed by Superman as well, and I've always looked at the DC universe as Superman is just the ultimate, and he should be, I think, like you said, on the level of Power Girl and Etrigan. But
He's pretty good now, though. I do like him. I mean, he's definitely much more usable now. I've actually
but
brought him on team.
I get what he's saying as far as that should be a character on the team where you're like, well, I got to take him out first.
Have you had a chance to play Batgirl or Black Canary yet?
I have tested out Batgirl. My Black Canary is very low. I don't have her even at level 3, not legendary 3, but just 3-starred. And so
Right.
I haven't been able to dive into her yet, but I have enjoyed playing with Batgirl a little bit, utilizing an evasion team. As long as you're not going up against a Wonder Woman, Princess of Themyscira, where she can take out everybody's evasions, then it can be a pretty powerful team. And so using Batgirl as team lead for that evasion team, I've been able to play with that a little bit, and because I've got her at L2, which is good enough to get her legendary as well as her first that does that call assist. I was able that were a good points higher than me just by utilizing her basic and her team leader ability.
Yeah, I'm really liking Batgirl. I actually really like both of them. Batgirl's been... I didn't like... It's funny because I liked Black Canary the most at first, and then when I started playing Batgirl more and more, I realized Batgirl, I have her Legendary 4, and same with Black Canary, and they both really good characters. They did a great job with the reworks on those. They're not overpowered. They're not like Etrigan level power, but they're well above average. I think just people are going to be leveling Steppenwolf this month.
Yes.
Hearing them out if they don't have them, because they're going to need
Absolutely. And that is, I guess, one of the good things that they did with Superman. At least his heat vision is it can't miss. And so with all the evasions up there, that is one thing that's really nice about the rework on Superman.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as you were talking about the evasion. All the evasions that are going to be coming. The heat vision is a can't miss now. So
I wish his debuffs lasted 2 turns instead of 1. I think that would make a huge critical difference with him. Yeah,
I mean, what you're going to need now is a Deathstroke or a Deadshot hired gun that can't miss. You've got Superman that can't miss, and you got Cheetah that can't miss. And so that would at least take care of all of the. And there's one from every. What are they called? Affinity or every color. And so
every color, I like it. Multicolor. What are you hoping to see in the future as far as future content for the game? What would be something that you would like to see?
Give me Darkseid.
Oh, I like it.
I want Darkseid.
I want to see him though in an event, like an epic level event. Like if they're going to eventually do a raid, which I hope that's in the cards. I want to see. Darkseid needs to be the end of a new chapter for PvE, kind of like it. It can't just be a character that you just get easily. Like he has to be earned through some epic level difficult event, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to say this the wrong way or have it come off the wrong way, but whenever your feature character is Etrigan, when you start talking about Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman, and now you're talking about Etrigan and some of the lower tiered characters in the comic book realm, we haven't even scratched the surface when you talk about potentially the greatest bad guy in the DC world in Darkseid. And so, at this point, they're going to have to do something epic. Heaven forbid they actually do another Martian Manhunter kind of event. But, hey, you got to do something big when you bring out the biggest bad.
Yeah, they got to do something big. And I would like to see the same thing with Brainiac. I want to see an epic level event with him. And that would be a great Superman chapter.
There you go.
Yep.
And how about any new mechanics, or I know you just mentioned a character you want to see, but any new mechanics you'd like to see to the game?
Yeah, actually, I know I'm kind of, I may get tarred and feathered for this, but I've been playing some Marvel Strike Force as well, and noticed that they have some characters that can summon other characters, kind of smaller minions. We saw a little bit of that with Penguin whenever he could summon in his smaller penguins, but they couldn't stay in the battle. And I guess it's kind of difficult when you only have 4 spots. But if there was something that they could do to call in somebody that kind of floated behind another character and could attack a second time, or every time that they summoned in somebody, you would get a double attack or something to that nature.
That would be pretty neat.
That's interesting. That sounds like a Lex Luthor thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Brings in little robots or something. They keep taking
Exactly.
take all the hits for him. So it, almost like an awareness, you have to take those out before you get to him.
There it is. I like it.
All right. Well, is there anything in particular that you'd like to plug on here? Talk about your YouTube channel or anything like that?
Well, I think most of the people that are listening probably know youtube.com/superhero review. Me and Maddie try to drop videos every week, if not multiple times a week. And we talk about all things comic books, movies, and primarily we wouldn't even have a YouTube channel if it wasn't for DC Legends. So we owe a lot to DC Legends, and we still enjoy playing the game. And so you know where to find us. You've probably seen us many times before. And so and I'll say for Maddie, bye world, and thanks for watching.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do, guys. I love your stuff.
Oh, appreciate it.
If you like the show, consider becoming a patron and get a special show each month, our special Q&A episode. It's only $1 to have access to this. Check it out at patreon.com, WeRRRLegends.
Thanks for listening. You're not going to say anything?